best. You will give your best. We will give our best to beautiful Ghana. Work and happiness. Yes, I must confess. It will bring success for beautiful Ghana. United farmers and workers of Africa, God will bless you wherever you are. Work and happiness. Yes, I must confess. All must give their best for beautiful Ghana. United farmers and workers of Africa, God will bless you wherever you are. Work and happiness. Yes, I must confess. All must give their best for beautiful Ghana. I will give my best. You give your best. Give my best to beautiful Ghana. To beautiful Ghana. To beautiful Ghana.
I will give my best. And if you also give your best to the beautiful country that you live in, then the world will be a better place. Good morning to you. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good day. Wherever in this world that you are and listening to the sound of my voice, I greet you. How are you doing this morning? I believe you are doing well. And I am doing great as well. I am so excited as always because today I have a scholar with me. I don't always get a scholar with me. Yes, she is beauty with brains. That's what they say, isn't it? Yes. So today I am going to have a chat. And this one, she's making me feel like a scholar already. We are going to learn. We're going to learn about theater and how it is shaping society, how it's telling the story of the individual as well as the people and the nation. How is it helping? This is what we're going to look at today. And the most fascinating thing about today's topic is that we are going to go into the benefits. Why should we go to theaters to watch performances, drama, plays? This will help you and me to learn a lot. So I would love to introduce to you my guests. Today, I just want us to go straight forward, though. I don't want to be delaying anybody's time because we've got a lot to talk about. So my guest is Dr. EKUMAH. She is the artistic director of the Abibigromma group in the University of Ghana, Legon. And also, she has been the head of department for the same university. And being that at the moment, her current position, she is the senior lecturer of the same university and the Department of Theater and Performing Arts. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my lovely sister, and she's my sister now, Dr. EKUMAH. Woo! Good morning to you, my sister.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me.
100%. How are you doing this morning?
Great. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. We have life, and that is all we can be grateful for. I woke up and there's air in my lungs, so it is a good thing. Yes.
Amazing to hear that. We thank goodness for life. So this morning, I want to know, tell me about yourself. Who is Dr. EKUMAH? What a lovely name. By the way, I love your name.
I also love my name. It's a very big part of who I am. Yes, my name is EKUMAH. I am a senior lecturer in the Department of Theatre Arts and also the artistic director, current artistic director of Abibigromma Resident Theatre Company, School of Performing Arts. I am an actor. I am a wife. I am a mother. I am Ghanaian. I am a Christian. I am a sister. I am a daughter, cousin, aunt. I am all of these things in this one body. And I love the way you introduced me and said my name correctly. I don't know why my name is so important to me, but it feels like this is me introducing myself to the world. And so I'm very particular about my EKUA, which is very different from EKUA. I know that whenever I meet a lot of people and I say, oh, they say, what's your name? And I say EKUA. They go, oh, EKUA. I say, no, it's EKUA, not EKUA. And I don't know why that strikes such a chord for me, but I have to be very particular about my name. So I was very happy that you said my name the way you did. Yes. And I'm Fanti. I think maybe it is the Fanti in me. Yes.
Awesome. And I also love your name. I think that names identify us and it showcases who we are as people. And whenever you mention your name, from me, when I mention my name anywhere, they say, oh, you are from Dr. EKUMAH's country.
Yes, indeed.
So
indeed. And that is very important. Yes, our names say something about who we are, where we are coming from, where we are heading, and you can be given a name and then you can also make a name for yourself, so sometimes our names go ahead of us. I remember having a conversation with my cousin about the legacies that our parents have left for us and we want to try and live up to it. And sometimes also some names are left for us that maybe we don't necessarily want to follow. So names identify us in a particular way. So for me, my name is very important, and I try very hard to, when I meet somebody for the first time, to get to hear their name. I'm interested in why you're called Queen G, for instance. Maybe in the course of our conversation, you will reveal what the G stands for and how you are a queen. Of course, you are a queen.
I'm actually a royal from a royal family of the Ashanti Kingdom, a place called Adansi.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's where I got my queen
Okay.
from. Now you are making me reveal my identity on there. Oh my God.
Yes, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, I can't hear you.
So today, before we go into the main topic, I want to know a bit about you.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can. I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So I said, before we go into the main topic, I want to know a little bit more about you as well. Growing up
Okay.
as a young woman, were you aspiring to become an actor like you clearly said to us? Or did you imagine the position you are in today? Was it something that you were aspiring to become? Or
Right.
there has been a circumstance change or change of circumstance that has landed you into this, one we say, prestigious position? So we want to hear more. Spill all the beans as well.
Yes. It's a great question. Both my parents were teachers. So I have two older sisters, Jane and Alice, who I hope are on the call and listening in. They're there with you in the UK. My husband is also there in the UK. So I hope they've all tuned in and are listening. When my earliest memories are of growing up in Ho in the Volta region. And I went to a school called Ridge Primary. I think now it's gone back to being called Kabori. And I remember always being interested in performance. But of course, at that time, I wasn't aware that it was something you could do as a profession. And I remember us talking about, oh, I want to be a mathematician when we were children. But I think it's just the idea of the name. We had a very strict maths teacher in Rich Primary School then. What was his name? I think it's Mr. Agama or something like that.
Mhm.
And he always talked about being a mathematician. So I think we, as young children, used to aspire to that. But I think that was a momentary thing for me, because anything to do with performance, I was there. But really, for me, the idea of getting up on a stage and taking my place on there came through Sunday school in at the Methodist Church in Hope. So that was where we were told stories from the Bible. We had a wonderful Sunday school teacher who used to have this special scarf that she used to stick pictures of characters from the Bible on it. And I remember specifically the story of the Good Samaritan, that being illustrated on her scarf. And I was just enthralled by that. And then we also had a Sunday school after school club that we used to go to, or in the holidays. And that was when we had a wonderful Osofomame of blessed memory, Mrs. Hutchful. She used to have Hutchful Crafts. I don't know if people remember her in Ghana. She has now passed on, but she was the one who first introduced me to the stage. And I remember I was so small. I used to learn everybody's lines. So I had the knack, or I guess we couldn't call it the talent, of memorizing lines. And my older sister was playing the character of God. My other sister, Alice, was playing a bridegroom. We were doing the story of the bride and the bridegroom in the Bible. But I was too little to play any of those major characters. And I remember I played a sheep, but it was the best sheep that I could play. And so that was my first introduction to the stage. And then we moved back to the UK and going to school. Again, there, it wasn't until I was doing my GCSEs that drama came up for me. So I guess I would say from an early age, the performance bug had caught me and held me tightly in its grip. And so from secondary school, I moved into college and I did theater arts or theater studies and English. And then I went to a drama school where I trained to become an actor. And since then, I finished in, should I show my age? I won't show my age. We're not revealing everything here. So I moved, I then moved into, I went to a drama school and then started working professionally as an actor. And then I decided that I needed to connect more with my Ghanaian roots. I used to come back to Ghana. Myself and my sisters and my parents came back for holidays, but I always had a yearning until I came and then I discovered the School of Performing Arts. And I just thought, this is heaven. This is exactly where I want to be. This is where I want to set down my roots and be nurtured by a school that is encompassed in music and dance and drama and everything performance related. So I was lucky to be the first cohort of the graduate program, the Bachelor of Fine Arts program. We were 10 students who started that program. And I was lucky enough to be interviewed and selected to be the first of that program, which is now over 20 years in existence. So since then, I was offered a job after I did my master's there, and I have been at the School of Performing Arts since then, back in 2002, I believe. And I have continued to perform. I continue, and now I've gone into teaching, and that was why I spoke about my parents at the beginning, because they have been in academics or they're in academia, and I never considered myself teaching, but now I found myself teaching and performing. So I hope I have given you a little insight into EKUMAH and my journey to being now working in the School of Performing Arts in the Theatre Arts Department as senior lecturer. I've headed the department before, and then now I'm artistic director for Abibigromma, the resident theatre company.
You couldn't have explained or introduced yourself better. Hey, a round of applause.
I'll clap for myself.
Awesome. I really love it. And I must say, I am so grateful and honored to have you on the show. And now we are going on to... Come again, you are saying something.
Oh, I was just saying, likewise, I'm also honored that you've given me the opportunity to be on the show. Thank you very much.
Grateful for your time. So the question today, we were talking about performing arts, theater arts, and what is it when we talk about theater arts or theater itself? What is it?
Okay, so theater, you can talk about it in two ways. You can have the edifice or the building of a theater. I'm sure you've been to many theaters. When we are talking about here in our School of Performing Arts, we have the iconic EKUA Sutherland Drama Studio. That is a studio. It is a theater space. In the UK, you can talk of the National Theatre. We also have the National Theatre here in Accra. We have the amphitheater. So you can talk about the building where performances take place. Also, when you say theater and you're talking in terms of the practice, there you're talking about where performances are put together. Stories, ideas, dances, music are put together and performed before an audience. Now, the audience is a very key part of what makes something that you have done on your own theater, because when you add an audience, people to come and sit and watch or observe or witness something that has been created, then you are in a space of theater practice, because then you have a group of people who are enjoying one activity together. They are experiencing the unfolding of that story. So I don't want to go too deep into it, but that in a nutshell is what theater is. And it comes in many forms. You can have musical theater, you can have dance theater, you can have physical theater, tragedy, comedy. All of these are forms and styles of theater. So they are broad and as far as the imagination can go, you can have theater as long as you have audience. Sometimes the audience are not even aware that there is theater going on, something we call invisible theater. And there are theaters that go on within communities. There are some theaters that go on, you enter that theater building and then the lights go down and then the play begins. So there are so many different forms of theater. I hope our listeners have cotton on to what I mean, or I'm trying to explain about the idea of theater. So there's the building and then there's the practice of theater. And the audience are a key part of the making of theater. You can do all the rehearsal, but if you don't have an audience to express what you've been working on with, then you are just doing it for yourselves.
So theater is like having a business and not having customers. Once you have the business, exactly, you need the customers.
Yes, that's a good example. Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that. And there is something I like about you. You can see your passion through your delivery. And I'm so excited. I can't stop smiling.
Yes, I'm definitely a born performer. And for us as performers, this is my tool. My body, my voice, my emotions, those are what we use to express ourselves. A painter will have their easel and their paints and the different kinds of material. These are the elements that I use. So I guess it will exude out of me.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So today's topic is the role of theater in national development and identity. We want to know, when you say national development and identity, I want us to take it one by one. We want to look at theater of identity. Explain a little bit more for us.
For me, when I talk about identity, I mean, we began talking about our names, how important that is. For me, I will confess that I hadn't really been aware of how important identity is in theater until I started studying theater. And this was outside of the Ghanaian space when I was doing this in the UK. And I was studying what is known as Black British theater. Because when you go to the theater, you want to be involved in the activity. You want to somehow connect to the experience that is being shown on the stage. You want to find a way to access what is being shown. How does this become relevant for me as an audience member? I'm sitting here with all these people. Are there any of the characters that I can connect to? Does anybody or the storyline connect to me? So when we go to the theater, we are looking and we are experiencing something together. And sometimes we go to the theater to be entertained. Sometimes we go to the theater to have an outer body experience. Sometimes we want to have a cathartic experience, meaning that there are some things that are going on the stage or in the performance that allow you to express some pent up anger or fear, but you are able to release that tension when you watch that activity so that you are then free to come back to yourself. So when we are talking about theater of identity, and I'm talking about when I started studying it in the UK, I started realizing that I wasn't seeing myself being exhibited on the stages that I was watching, the kinds of plays I was watching. There were beautiful plays, but I felt removed from them until I then went to watch something that really connected to me, and it was about West Africans. And the stories they were talking about was about the difficulties that West Africans face in Britain. And immediately I connected to the work. I was laughing, I was crying, and I said, I want to do more work like this.
Amazing.
And the reason why that struck me was there weren't only West Africans in the audience. There were also British people in the audience. There were people who were not British, but they were able to get a glimpse into the lives of West Africans living in Britain. And if they hadn't come to watch that play, they would have no way had an opportunity to understand, even begin to understand these other peoples, who they live in communities with, what they go through. So the theater becomes a platform upon which we can get a glimpse into the lives of other people from different walks of life, from different centuries even. So it doesn't only mean that the plays have to be connected to me directly, but I get a sense of, because it's a human activity, and the liveness of theater means that you are seeing another human being putting themselves up on a stage, being vulnerable, but there is that liveness that connects you as an audience member to what is going on the stage. So in terms of identity, we as audience members are looking to see how we can connect to what is going on that stage. And I'm talking about my personal experience. When I was fully connected was when I saw stories that I could recognize, communities that I could recognize and say, oh, I know something about this. Another production was Things Fall Apart, was done as part of a huge theater festival. I remember I was at drama school at the time, and I went to watch it, and I was blown away the way the stage was able to transform into a Nigerian, a Yoruba community. And they did it so beautifully. The way the actors were dressed, and I knew some of the actors, but I was transported. So the theater has the ability to transport us to, as far as our imagination will go, as I said before. Yes. We as audience members will go with you. So the identity, I hope I have begun to answer the question of theater and identity as a member of the audience, but also as a performer. If you identify yourself as, this is who I am, and I want my story to also be out there. That also influences the kind of work that is put on the stages. And I was particularly interested in West African stories being put on British stages, because West Africans also live in Britain. But now I have relocated and I'm back here in Ghana. So the issue of identity is on a different level, I would say.
Awesome. When you were speaking, you said something. You said that when you identified who you are in a way,
Yes.
in Britain, there were other people, not only Ghanaians or West Africans, but they also
Yes.
connected with what
Mm.
they were watching. And
Yes.
therefore make me think that it's not only for people who understand your language, it is
Mm.
also a way of bridging or bringing everybody together. So you don't necessarily
Absolutely.
have to know the language. So language barrier wouldn't necessarily cause any problem through this. So
No.
I was following and I'm loving it very, very well. So can I say that theater can actually break through language and cultural barriers?
Yes, it can. It absolutely can. Because there is a certain power that comes with performance. And of course, a lot of I told you that there were different forms of theater. There's musical theater, there's physical theater, and physical theater, dance theater. We don't the language or the vocabulary of those kinds of work is the body. The body is the instrument that speaks, and music too transcends borders. And so we can all feel emotion. We can all feel anger. We can all feel pain. We can all feel sadness and happiness. So we can connect to that. And we can all connect to stories. Stories, I believe, are universal. We all tell stories. I'm seeing that we have 9 minutes left. I will just reconnect. Is that what we will do?
Absolutely. Do reconnect. We can't wait to lose you.
Okay. Okay. All right. I was just aware of the time. Right. So absolutely, theater in all its forms transcends barriers. Of course, there are some pieces of work in theater that are targeted to a particular group where you want to communicate. I'm thinking right now of Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who, when you talk about theater and you talk of language, he is interested in developing the theater and the cultural practices of his community, the Gikuyu community. So he started off writing plays in English and was doing the well-made play, so-called well-made play, which speaks to our colonial heritage. But then he also thought, why am I from?
Definitely.
And so he started doing his plays in his own indigenous language. So his plays are targeted to his community.
When you were explaining what he did. So if you can go back a little bit for us, you said, why am I? And then you went off.
Oh, I see. I was saying that some pieces of theater can be targeted to a particular audience. We were talking about how theater can be broad and cut across borders, but there are some pieces of work also that are targeted. And I was giving the example of Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who his whole mission is to develop his own culture, his own language. And he believes that the culture is embedded in the language. So why should I make theater and be speaking in a language that my own people do not engage with? I should speak to them in a language that they understand, a language that comes from is embedded in their blood, in their bones. So when I say a word, they know all the meanings of the word, not just the English translation of that word, because the English language, when you compare it to other African languages, can be limiting in terms of translation.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make that example that some theaters are also targeted to a particular group. And I wanted to give Ngugi as a good example of that.
Beautiful. And also, does it mean that theater can also create therapeutic environment for the people?
Yeah, it absolutely can. It can be therapeutic. As I said, it can be a space where you go to be entertained. It can be a space where you also go to be challenged. There are a lot of playwrights out there who write and make you sit up and think, oh my goodness, maybe the world that I see it is not as beautiful as it is. They pull back the covers, they take off what we call the rose-tinted glasses, so that you see the life as it really is. When we think about African theater in general, what we call here in Ghana, Abibigromma, really unfolds before your eyes. It comes from a storytelling history where, Yakan and Sasama, we mold into the characters right before the audience's eyes. We don't go and hide behind any backstage and do costume and makeup, and then we appear and pretend that we are now in a sitting room. It happens right before your eyes. So it is immediate. But there are other forms of theater where you can go and the playwright or the director wants to jolt your audience, wants the audience to think. There are also some scholars, other theorists of theater who want people to be there's some theater of cruelty where they want to really push your audience to the limit, to their extremes. We've gone through different forms of theater over the history. I mean, theater first began through religion. It was enacted. The Bible was enacted to tell people about what was in the Bible. And so performance has been with us, and we as a people, we tell our stories, we perform who we are through the way we dance, through the way we sing our songs, the way we tell our stories. You can get a sense of who the people are if you just read the way they write their songs, the way they tell their proverbs. It is all embedded in the culture of the people, and how we perform that gives you a clue as to who these people are and why they do things the way they do.
So theater helps in developing stories as well.
Oh yes, it definitely does. It definitely does. And we can even segue into theater and development, because we tend to think of development in terms of maybe donors coming and giving us money and building huge structures. But I believe that the development comes from the individual.
Mm-hmm.
The individual, the philosophy of the individual,
yes,
must be nurtured. I was trying to remember, I think any nation that is not religious or doesn't value the arts
mm-hmm.
will perish. I've paraphrased it, so forgive me, all the scholars out there. There is a saying about any nation that will never be great if it does not value the arts and religion. And really, when we think about our nation as Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah knew the value of arts. That is why the Institute of African Studies, and out of the Institute of African Studies, the School of Performing Arts was birthed. He understood the value of our cultural practices, because our cultural practices are where we understand the philosophy of who we are and how we view our world, how we view the world. Mm-hmm. From which perspective are we seeing ourselves in the world? Do we think of ourselves in an individualistic sense, or do we see ourselves as the collective? Our cultural practices, our proverbs, do they suggest that we think about ourselves in a collective or as an individual? I think you will find that we think in that collective manner. And so things that will help our communities thrive is what our philosophies put forward. That is what our philosophies are promoting. So our songs, our dirges, our proverbs are all helping us, because these are all avenues where we will learn about ourselves. This is how we pass this down through generations, from our grandparents, our forebears, to ourselves. I see that we have 12 or 10, 15 seconds to go off. So I don't know, shall I pause here?
Pause here and then come back and we will continue. Yes, so we're waiting
Okay.
for you.
Okay. 1 minute. So I shall pause, should I?
Then you will come back and we will continue. So come back
Okay.
in a minute or two.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. So she is going to come back. I believe you are enjoying the same way that I am enjoying and learning theater arts. Theater. Why is it important for us to engage in that? You've heard so many things helping developing ourselves, more of self-awareness, even communication, and also identifying who you are as a person, also as a nation, your community, members of your community, your society that you live in, where you find yourself, your family, your friends, you are able to identify who you are. I am loving it so much, and I can't wait to have her back very soon. And I think we've got some messages, and we'll wait for her to come. When she comes, then we will continue. And let me see if I can find you some LPMs and we'll read them to you before she comes back. So, are you looking for an interesting career? Do you want to be a police officer? As a police officer, what makes you who you are will help you make a difference. The objectives are to increase consideration of a career in policing, increase agreement that somebody like me could be a police officer, drive people to take action as a result of seeing or hearing the campaign. So if you want to be a police officer, find yours in your area, or you can go online and find your passion now. So I have with me the number one scholar in the world. She is back. So let's continue. So
Right.
please continue from where you left off.
Oh, okay. I think I had probably rounded off.
Okay.
I wondered,
So let me ask you
yes,
this question.
yes,
We've talked about theater. What is the
yes.
relationship, or how different is it from cinemas?
Oh, okay. Well, it's a different medium. So it uses a different technology. So the performance is now mediated through a screen. That is it essentially. And there are more different collaborators. There are collaborations in theater, in performance across board, but with cinema, you don't have the liveness. The main difference is the lack of live performers right in front of you, living, breathing. So the screen mediates that. And that already comes with its own set of rules of how you interact with that space. And it's not a space that I'm very well versed in. I enjoy watching films, but I haven't studied film in that sense. I'm certainly much more leaning towards the live performance space of the theater. Yes. So the main difference is the liveness. So the screen is the thing that mediates, and it will be the same for TV as well. Yes.
Amazing. So on this note, let me say good morning to my viewers this morning. Good morning to all the listeners on radio and also to you on Facebook and YouTube. I greet you this morning. Sharon says good morning, Queen G. And also I've got some few messages that have come. And Nanaya says, good morning to you, doctor. You have explained everything beautifully. And I must say, I am loving the show. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. Mhm.
This message is also from Nana Abba. Nana Abba, good morning to you. Always supporting the show. Thank you so much. She says, good morning, Queen G. Ask the doctor for me. Can I be a performer at age 60?
Oh, absolutely. It is the oldest profession. The oldest profession. You can keep going until you drop dead on stage, as they say, as some people have done. You can keep on and on and on. Yes. And you'll become better at it because performance is also drawing from your own personal experience, which is what makes your performance unique from the next person. We might all be given the same script, but I'm coming with my experience to bear on that character. If Queen G, you are given the same script, your royal history will also inform how you will interpret that character. So absolutely, there is no age limit. Of course, you might not be able to play a young spring chicken, but you will definitely have. And actually, as I've grown older, I find that the characters are even more meatier, or they have more substance. As you know, and it has something to do with maybe those who are writing, because we are all growing and trying to put down what we feel is lacking, or what we feel is been pushed to the background. So as we begin to take up more space in the discipline, we start filling in those gaps that were there when we were younger. So I now look out for more characters of substance, characters that have a certain breadth and depth of experience, so that I can draw from my own and be able to access some of these characters. So absolutely, age 60, you are still very young. You have many more years. These days we are living longer. So you can absolutely perform. Go out there, find a play and perform.
Thank you so much. Now, I want you to take us through this. Abibigromma, you are the
Yes.
director. And I want you to tell us, I've just realized our time is running fast. So take 2 minutes to explain everything about Abibigromma, your mission, your vision, what you're doing, and what we can do to support as well. So over to you.
Right. Beautiful. So Abibigromma is the resident theatre company of the School of the Performing Arts, University of Ghana. And it was established back in May of 1983, which means that we are now 40 years old. We are 4 decades in this business. Exactly. I think we have reached the 4th floor, as everybody's saying these days. We are in our our 40th anniversary celebratory year. So this is a repertory company, and it is to facilitate teaching, research, and experimentation. Now, the mission of the company is to promote and research into the arts and culture of Ghana and Africa. And because of where we are situated in an academic environment, we are within the School of Performing Arts in the University of Ghana. Our mission aligns with the University of Ghana's mission and vision, but we seek to create and present scripted and unscripted artistic works, and we draw from our social cultural background. So we don't only do plays, we also do musicals, dance pieces. We do concept work for companies, corporate companies. We do a lot of work for school outreach programs. Right now, we've had a whole spell of working with the recently departed Amatedu's play, The Dilemma of a Ghost. We have been taking that around to schools. Schools have been coming to the drama studio to watch the company perform these plays. So the company really is an experimental repertory company, and the members are all mostly trained from the School of Performing Arts, or they are experts in their specific fields, as in we have master drummers, master xylophonists, master dancers, we have dramatists, we have directors, stage managers. There's a plethora of performers in the company, those who are steeped in the culture of Ghana and Africa. And then we have younger members who come and also learn from this. So it's a training ground and a laboratory. We really see it as a laboratory because we also support teaching and learning in the academic classes. So sometimes Abibigromma members come in and support staff productions. Sometimes we come in and support classes that are going on in the university. But currently we are celebrating our 40th anniversary, and we have a list of programs that we are doing that will take us all the way to next year. But what we do need is support.
Cut and come back again quickly. If you are breaking up, so just cut and come back again quickly. We've got just 4 minutes to run away. Doctor, you are breaking up, so log off and then sign in again. We've got just 4 minutes to run away. Oh, technology. Sometimes. Doctor, if you can hear me, please sign out and sign in again. We have few minutes to run now.
And share the school project.
Oh, she was breaking. So hopefully she can sort herself out and then come as quickly as possible. We need to run away in 3 minutes. But I know that you are enjoying as much as I am. If you want to bring in your messages, I would be so happy to read your messages to her. So bring in your messages as we wait for her. Babe Slow says, good morning, Queen G. Good morning to you as well. Doctor, you have 2 minutes to finalize everything. Please give social media handles, the contact, what we need to do to support as well.
Okay. So to support Abibigromma, let me give you our social media handles. We have Abibigromma at UG, abibigromma.ug@gmail.com. Our social media handles. This is where I always fall short. I never remember them. Oh, you told me to have that prepared. Can I share that with you later? Is
Share
that
that with me
possible?
later, no problem. And
I can
any
send
other
it. Okay.
means, number
We have
or
a Twitter
anything?
account, Abibigromma lower score Legon lower
Please come
score
again. I didn't hear.
official. We have a Twitter account which is Abibigromma S. And then we also have a Facebook account which is Abibigromma UG Legon. So Abibigromma UG Legon is our Facebook account. Abibigromma, this is our Twitter account. Abibigromma with a big S at the end, and then email abibigromma-legon-official. That also is our Instagram account. So anybody out there who is willing to support the company and to also come on our pages and see the work that we do, you can communicate with us on the social media handles. Instagram, Abibigromma_Legon_official. That is our Instagram handle. As you can see, I'm showing my age because I don't know them off head.
Now I know you are BBC before computers.
I'm BBC, absolutely. I put my hands up to being BBC, very much so. Yes,
Awesome,
but the younger
awesome.
ones,
So I
again.
want you to round up, and we
Yeah.
are going to go. And indeed, you will come back because we've got a lot to talk about, but the time
Right.
did not allow us to do so.
Right.
In brief, let me give you 1 minute. In brief, tell us. I would have loved for you to say a bit of fancy, but time is gone another time because I loved your fancy, the way you infused it in there. I loved it. And so tell us, the young people growing up, their interests, and tell their family how important is it for us to encourage our children to get into the arts. So over to you.
Yes. Art for me is life. And I say that because it is around us. We see art everywhere we turn, and we live it. We perform who we are all the time. So when you are given the opportunity to express yourself through the arts, that really gives people an opportunity to show what they can also contribute to the development of society. And people express themselves in so many different ways. You don't always have to go and stand up on a stage. There are those whose skill is in creating props. There are those whose talent or art lies in costuming somebody. Somebody, it is in how you light a set. Somebody, it is how they will use a camera to tell a different story. All of these people, everybody has a story to tell. And there are so many different mediums within which we can tell stories. You can have a doctor who is also an artist. You need to think in a certain way to even begin to think about cutting through a body and looking to see how you can mend it. There is that art in all of us because I believe we have all been created with something unique. The master creator, God, has put something unique in each and every one of us. So we must allow our young people to express themselves. Let them find who they are. Because when they know who they are better placed to have that philosophy of being rooted. And then that will give them the wings to fly wherever their imagination will take them. So we must encourage them.
Thank you so Thank you so much for your time. And we have to run away now. We will
Okay.
definitely bring you here again. And
I would love
possibly
to
when
come
you
back.
come to the UK, you will come live in the studios.
Super. Yes, why not? Why not? Thank you so much too, Queen G. I have enjoyed the session. And I look forward to
Bye
our
for
second
now.
one. Yes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye too.
Awesome. This is where time will allow us. So thank you all for staying with us. As always, I love you. So you too, love me and don't leave me. And today, I leave you with work and happiness. As always, when you work, ensure to create or surround yourself with happiness. That is the only way. If your passion shows through, do not let it go. Embrace what you love and do it better. See you next time with another exciting episode. Bye for now.
I will give my best. You will give your best. We will give our best to beautiful Ghana. Work and happiness